Hello there, this is Jasmine, aka Gladiator and Sweats, and we got an airplane going over. Alright, this isn't anything, planned or anything. I just was sitting outside and just having these thoughts, surrounding not just relationships, but surrounding the way that we not just express love, but the ways in which we define love and the ways in which we believe love should be given. So, I mean, I guess that's very vague, but I'm trying not to make this too long or anything. But so, I guess I'll just talk about a specific celebrity, but this isn't even about him. This is really about the broader picture. So, I don't even know the dude like that. So, his name's like Triple X Temptation or something like that. I'm not sure. And so, just long story short, with him having passed, him having passed in a violent way, and seeing the very polar reactions, seeing those that are sad, seeing those that are like he was on his way to being better, seeing those that were feeling just some sort of sadness or just some sort of disappointment for him, for not being able to live his life because he was only 20. And then I see very much this reaction of not just disgust for him, but of being like, I don't even understand why we should care, kind of thing. And this isn't even just about him. This happens with like all celebrities. This happens with all events. This happens with everything. Something happens that someone does not deem important enough. Like, because this is the part where it's important. Because everyone has their own, like, line, right? So everyone has their own line of what's important to them. Everyone has their own line of, like, how far is too far. As far as, like, the line in the sand for, what they consider a good and a bad person, right? And so, with all of that, kind of coming together and the way that we look at our celebrities, and the first thing I think that needs to not just be pointed out, but people really need to not just remember but acknowledge is that these celebrities are people too. They're just playing a part. The same way we're playing our own parts in our own lives, where I may be a mom and I'm a daughter and I'm a partner, I'm playing these parts. These celebrities are playing their parts too. They have their own lives too. They're a sibling or a parent, or a partner to someone else. But they also play this role as celebrity or this person of, public status, and that's another role that they play. And so I think it's weird. I don't even like to say that. I think it's interesting. I guess that's a better way of putting it. I think it's interesting the way that I'm seeing people, and it's not just like, I understand that like a lot of people don't really critically analyze or look that deep. So it's not even about being like, oh haha, like I see this and you don't or anything like that. But it's just like I even notice, even within the spiritual community, this essence of it's the same thing. It's the same dogma. It's the same, well, they need to be like me. They need to act like me. They need to act like this to be spiritual. They need to act like this to be a good person, to be whatever. You know what I mean? Which, again, fair enough. Everyone has their line. Everyone has their idea of what that looks like. But what I feel like the whole point, or not even just of today, but the whole point of this time, not even just of this time, but for this country, is like we have to get over the idea of what we believe love looks like. We have to get over thinking love means everyone agreeing or everyone being peaceful. That's not love. It's not. It's not. Love is not this, I mean, it is this utopian kind of like everyone is loved and no one feels harmed. Yes, that can be a version of love, but on this plane, that's not the way it's going to play out. And so when it doesn't play out that way, we get so hurt, and we get so, not just hurt, but we get into this space of, this world is terrible, and this world is horrible because it's not appearing the way I believe it should, or because these bad things are happening and I don't believe a good place has things that has these bad things that happen. Just all these things, which again, I just keep wanting to point out that none of this is about saying anyone's right or wrong. My point isn't even right or wrong. Just give you my perspective. But my perspective is that we create so much disappointment for ourselves by creating so many expectations. Even the whole idea of like standards when it comes to dating has been completely, I feel like, bastardized. I feel like the way that people take the whole idea of their standards is really as far as, the ways you let people treat you and how you let people treat how you treat other people. Like, it's interesting to have standards like this person needs to have these physical manifestations in place, or this person needs to have these certain connections, they need to have this certain persona, or fair enough, but it's like the whole part of relationships where people get so, not just distraught, but where it all falls apart, especially when have been in these times of like the age of Pisces. I feel people really being deluded, and people really, and it's not even our fault in that, to an extent. There's so much programming. We've just been raised to be this way in a lot of ways, and so we have to really unpack the ways in which we view love, what we believe love looks like. We need to unpack what it looks like to care about someone, or not to care about someone, what it looks like to respect someone even if you don't like them. And I guess just to get back to the guy that brought this all up to my attention, just because I don't know much about him, but I know that his image online was very much either you hated him or you loved him, which made sense. I think he's a Sag. I'm not even entirely sure, but I'm like, you either loved him or hated him. And I remember when I was just reading about him, like maybe a month ago, and I was just like, this kid is actually really brilliant. I'm like, this guy is actually really smart. He may be making mistakes. He may not have his head on straight. How many of us, like, some of us can sit here and be like, yeah, I have my head on straight, but it's like, I can go back to when I was 20. That wasn't that long ago. I can go back to when I was around that age, and not even just that, but like, if we all go back to the time where maybe we were the most lost, or the time where we were the most, like, I want to say when we're in our deepest and our darkest, but like when we were at that time. And I just feel like the thing people completely forget is like, so when celebrities have their life on front row, they literally have their life on front row. This means the good and the bad. That means every time they get into fights with their like boyfriend or girlfriend, just like we might get into fights with our boyfriend and girlfriend, but we don't have our shit blasted. We don't have to deal with everyone getting a perception, because it's not even that everyone knows what's going on. It's not that it's truth, it's perception. These newspapers and the TV and all that, they're giving you a certain picture perception of what's going on with people, with certain groups, all that kind of stuff, right? It's all about the framing. And so when we sit here, and especially as critical thinkers who know about the news, who know not even just about the news, but about TV, and just about the general, it's called TV programming, just understanding that the basis of it is programming, and understanding that there's a level of discernment that we all have to have in order to be able to at least determine for ourselves whether this is truth or whether this is, someone trying to project something that is more false. And so I just feel like, nice. I guess I'll just hold it. I guess I just feel as if we forget sometimes. Even the best of us, we forget and we get caught up in the drama, or we can get caught up just in the info. That can be like one of the curses of Gemini. I know very well of just wanting to get more and more and more and more information, but there can be a point where now there's just an oversaturation. We have so much information that now you're not able to discern, or now the process is discerning, what facts to keep, what to let go, what's important, what's not. And so for me, as a Gemini sun, looking at this particular situation and being like, what's important and what's not, do I think it's important the day someone dies or passes to essentially psychic attack them by talking crap about them, by saying how much their death didn't mean anything, how we should be caring about other things, or not even just that, but the idea of we shouldn't even be caring about him at all. Like, if you even give your attention to him in any aspect and you're not giving your attention to certain other things that people deem more important, then now you're a bad person, or you're a sociopath, right? So it's just that's why now is this time of, it's not even about, again, being right or wrong. It's about figuring out what's right and wrong for you and standing up for that. That's really what I feel like this time is about. So that's why I really felt like I had to make this video, because not because I needed to defend the dude, but I really felt like I needed to defend people, defend their right to be loved. Every quote unquote bad person, loves someone, and every person that is supposedly a saint or humanitarian or whatever has done somebody wrong, and not just done someone wrong. I'm sure they've done someone real dirty. So this idea that like we should be judging people on the worst that they've done, it only works if it works for you. Like in the sense of like, if you feel like, well, my wrongs are less wrong than someone else's. But like even the Bible, even scripture, even a lot of tellings say there is no discrimination. There is no higher and lower of quote unquote sin. A sin is a sin is a sin. And so I don't know, I just think it's really funny. At the end of it, I honestly do think it's funny, just because it's like, I can see how so many of us get caught up in wanting to be so right and wanting to be righteous. And I feel like that's really a huge thing. A lot, especially for us in the spiritual community, there's this pressure to be righteous all the time and to be on all the time and to like have the hot take all the time, or to all of this stuff. Like, so even when it comes to me or people that do this kind of work or whatever, there's also that certain projection and layer that people expect where, well, that person's supposed to be all peace and all just like all peace and passivity and that kind of thing, and that's not even me either. So I'm definitely the person that's like, no, you fight for your truth. You choose your fights. I think you choose them wisely, but when you've chosen your fight, then go ahead and fight. And so I feel like this was one of my many fights, was like, you're not gonna sit here and claim you want righteousness, and you want to be seen as better, and you want to be seen as someone that's growing, and you want to be seen as someone that's doing better than they were before. And so it's only fair enough to extend that to someone else if that seems to be the same thing that they're doing. So I guess it goes all the way back to like, we don't know these people. So I feel like before I even judge, but I really feel like even before anyone judges, the first thought, I'm like, do I know this person? Like, do I actually have interactions with this person? Do I actually know this person? Or do the ideas of who they are come from outside sources? or sources outside myself, because you can still believe in those sources or accept those sources, but it's important to just be aware. Just be aware that there's so many different perspectives of every person, of everything, of it's unlimited. So if you want to find someone out there that doesn't like someone, you'll find it. If you want to find someone that does like someone, you'll find it. So it's about what it is you want to find. The frequency that you're putting out. What is it that you want to pick up on? If you want to pick up on hate, you want to pick up on people's darkest, deepest, then that's what you're going to, then that's, which is fine. I mean, that's something that I can, that I unconsciously do at times, and even within myself, pulling out the worst. But I don't even like to look at it as bad things. It's really all so that you're able to bring awareness to it. So that you're able to control it if it needs to be controlled. Or, rewire it, reprogram it. If it doesn't work for you anymore, it no longer, resonates with how you feel. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I really want to say? I just really want to record this because I just don't. In these times where love is not only hard to fight for, but it feels as if, at least at times, that people are giving in more to hate than to love. But I don't believe that. I think the journey isn't straight, or it's not just going straight. It's very all over the place. But I feel like we are getting better. That we are getting better at learning, not necessarily not just to not judge people, but also seeing ourselves in people. And the more that you see yourself in other people, at least for me, I can say the more that I see myself in other people, the easier it is for me to not judge them. The easier it is for me to at least not judge them in the same light that I maybe once did, where I was so quick to write them off and put them in a box and be like, all right, this is your label. This is who you are to me. And I'm wanting to allow people to determine for themselves, at least in my own relationships with people. Because I know, I'm sure there's people that you could probably find in the world that I've, had interactions with that doesn't like me, that would tell you that maybe I am a bad person, or tell you that, oh, she's this and that and the other, or she did this and that and the other. And everyone has that. Everyone has that. There's no one that has not done someone wrong, that has not did something that maybe even someone perceived as wrong. There's no one that's exempt from this. So I guess that's for me. It's like, I guess I'm just thinking, like, if I pass, it's not that I want people to be like she was perfect, but I would want people to acknowledge the good that I was doing. I would want people to acknowledge that the good that I was trying to be, as opposed to being like, well, this is what the bad that she did do. But especially when you don't know these people. I'm going to just say that, like, as peace and love as I can be, like I said, we don't know these people. So I'm going to just end this with, like, when you don't know people and you let perceptions and you let other people tell you how people are, that's your, that's fine, that's cool, whatever. That can be just the choice that you make. But not just can there be opportunities lost like this, but it's just like we say it all the time, you really cannot judge a book by its cover. And not just by the appearance, but by the perceptions and mirrors that have been put out about this person too. I personally feel that way. That you should discern for yourself. So, I guess I'm going to just end it there. I do still need to get on the daily video, so I'll be putting that out. I will be putting out the weekly reading today too. I'm getting all that done. I've just been really, not even sidetracked, I've just been busy just reading more for, not even really for the reading, but just coming up on a lot of stuff that I feel like would really be helpful for the times that we're coming into, to be able to kind of explain the bigger picture that I feel is going on with all of us, like really what the purpose is of this current energies and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's it. As always, I'm appreciative and thankful for the likes and comments and shares and all those things. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess what I really want to do is do this a little bit more because I'm always thinking of stuff, but to be honest, I'm always low key talking to myself, and now I'm just like, why don't I just record these as videos? Because maybe someone is not just interested in the 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 take, but maybe also interested in having the conversation. Because again, I'm not right or wrong or anything like that. I am just giving like my analysis or my look at it, in this time, and maybe others might want to talk about it or whatnot. But I'm just leaving it at that. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so happy Tuesday, everyone. And yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah, check out my daily readings and weekly readings if that's anything you're interested in, or if you haven't done that yet. But otherwise, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.